but there are still real worries about the impact of the war on longer-term prices. So let's talk more about that and more with U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. He oversees about 1/4 of all American oil production on and offshore. He is also the chair of the National Energy Dominance Council and working, no doubt, closely with his friend and fellow cabinet member, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, on this issue. Secretary Burgum, thank you very much for joining us. And people, they don't think of that. They think of state parks, but they don't realize that so much oil production, more than Exxon, by the way, is done on land that is owned by the federal government and the taxpayer, onshore, offshore. So what is your role in helping protect against any oil supply shock?
Well, Brian, great to be with you. And of course, this started the day that President Trump got in office. He summed it up simply, energy abundance. His words that resonated with the voters was drill, baby, drill. We'd come off of 4 years of the Biden administration not holding the legally required lease sales, which gave the private sector the opportunity to lease land, gave the private sector an opportunity to lease minerals, to send a check to the Treasury, and then develop those minerals with their own capital, and then send a royalty check to the federal government. I mean, this is a business where the federal government on public land, we're in partnership with the ranchers, with the timber providers, with the people that do mining, and certainly with the oil and gas industry. And that's why we went to work last year, over 6,100 permits in just 9 months from when President Trump took office through the end of the federal fiscal year at the end of September. The record number, more than any other full 12-month year, we got out to people, which again gave them the ability to generate revenue and generate production. And again, meeting with the American companies over the last weeks and months, and including some today that are here in town, I think you're going to see them all announcing that they've increased production, here in the United States in response to the price signals and in response to the need that we have right now. So President Trump putting us in a spot as a country, this is the most energy security the nation has ever had, because we're number one in the world in producing oil. We're number one in producing natural gas, number one in LNG exports, selling energy to our friends and allies so they don't have to buy from our adversaries, but also keeping prices down here for American consumers and American industry at home. So President Trump's energy dominance policy is working.
We are at 13.6 million barrels a day. It's a record high, but we do use about 19 to 20 million barrels a day. So there's a supply and demand gap that has to be filled by imports, much of that from our friends in Canada. And by the way, thank goodness for Canada these days, right? I think we can all kind of agree on that. You're North Dakota. I think you might know something about Canada up there. But let's talk about the SPR. I know it's not your or Secretary Wright's job to call for the release. That's the president's job. But do you agree with the IEA decision?
Well, I think what you're hearing out of the IEA today is reasonable on their part, but clearly whether the U.S. participates is up to President Trump. He'll make the final decision on that. The markets are reacting to supply demand. They're also reacting sometimes, as you've seen the volatility the last few days, to information, misinformation, what they think of as either progress on freedom of navigation or progress on taking away the capabilities for the terrorist regime of Iran to do what they've been doing for 47 years. Literally, I mean, let's remember, Americans that are old enough can remember, they started their regime with taking Americans hostage. That's what they did on day one. Now they're trying to take hostage the entire world economy by saying we meaning the terrorist regime of Iran, not the Iranian people, but the terrorist regime, that they're going to control the flow of oil to and from. I mean, that impedes on the rights of many of our Arab neighbors and allies that are there. And as you know, as you've highlighted, a huge center of production for global energy. The fact that risk has always been there and could have been executed on at any time is part of the reason why President Trump said we've got to build energy security here at home. And one of those things is Venezuela. I was just down in Venezuela last week for 2 days with the new leadership there. And what an opportunity for the Western Hemisphere to move the geopolitical center of energy back to the Western Hemisphere because of their enormous resources, our resources, and of course, again, Alberta and Saskatchewan also having great resources.